Life is noisy. It bombards you with opinions, interruptions, criticisms, failures, and expectations. Every day, you're exposed to judgment, what you wear, how you speak, what you do or don't achieve. People will talk. Things will go wrong. Emotions will surge. The world does not slow down to protect your peace. So if you want to find real strength, it won't come from trying to control everything around you. It comes from mastering what's within you. The most powerful people don't have fewer problems. They've simply mastered how they react. This is the power of indifference, not coldness, not apathy, but a deliberate decision to withhold your emotional energy from things that don't deserve it. Indifference is a mental armor. It doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It means you know exactly what's worth caring about. Imagine walking through a storm, lightning flashing, wind howling, and you don't flinch. You move with calm, steady resolve. That's the power of someone who has learned not to let external noise touch their internal clarity. While others are thrown off course by criticism or inconvenience, the indifferent person remains composed, focused, and in control. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you reclaim power over your emotions. It's not about pretending. It's about prioritizing. You train your mind to pause before reacting. You ask, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? Next year? Is this a threat to my purpose, or just a distraction? Most of the time, the answer is no. That's why indifference is a form of dominance. It unsettles people. They expect you to react, to argue, to explain yourself. But you don't. You're calm, measured, immovable. And in that silence, you gain control over yourself and over the moment. The world respects calm composure more than reactive emotion. Think of the most influential leaders, thinkers, and warriors in history. They weren't the loudest in the room. They didn't rush to defend themselves at every slight. Their power came from their restraint, from an aura that said, I don't need to respond. I know who I am. This mindset also shields you from burnout. When you're constantly reacting, defending yourself, stressing over every opinion, emotionally spiraling over setbacks, you drain your energy. You lose sight of your mission. But when you become indifferent to distractions, your focus sharpens. You move with purpose, not impulse. Letting go of emotional reactions doesn't make you weak, it makes you dangerous in the best way. You become someone who cannot be provoked, manipulated, or thrown off course. You start operating from strategy, not sensitivity. You learn to observe instead of absorb. To pause instead of panic. To rise instead of react. Indifference is a skill. It requires discipline. But once developed, it becomes one of your greatest assets. Because when you stop giving everything your attention, you begin to channel your energy into what truly matters, your growth, your purpose, your peace. So the next time life throws you a curveball, a rude comment, a failed plan, a moment of chaos, ask yourself this: do I need to respond, or do I need to rise above? Because the one who walks calmly through noise is the one who quietly owns the room. That's the power of indifference. There's a common misunderstanding about emotional detachment. Some think it means apathy, coldness, or a lack of empathy. But that's not what real detachment is. True emotional detachment is not about feeling nothing, it's about not letting feelings control you. In a world where emotional reactivity is normalized, where people fly off the handle over comments, likes, news, and setbacks, learning to separate your emotions from your actions is a rare and powerful skill. It doesn't make you less human, it makes you more in control. Emotional detachment is the decision to respond, not react. Reactions are impulsive. They're driven by instinct and ego. Responses, on the other hand, are intentional. They come from a place of clarity, not chaos. When you react, you hand over control. When you respond, you take it back. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you manage them. You acknowledge how you feel, but you don't let that dictate how you act. Imagine standing in front of someone who insults you. The average person flares up, defensive, angry, impulsive. But the emotionally detached person pauses, breathes, smiles, walks away, unbothered and unbroken. That's power. When you detach emotionally, you stop internalizing failure. You no longer see mistakes or rejections as personal attacks. Instead, you treat them as data, feedback to adjust, recalibrate, and continue. The emotionally attached person crumbles under the weight of failure. The detached one extracts the lesson, discards the noise, and moves forward stronger. To live this way, you must train yourself to pause before reacting. In that moment of stillness, ask, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in a week? A year? Am I feeding a fire that doesn't need to burn? Most of the time, you'll realize the answer is no. And by choosing not to react, you protect your peace. That's how emotional detachment becomes a tool for power. It keeps you grounded when the world is spinning. It gives you space between stimulus and response, where clarity lives and growth begins. In truth, emotional detachment is not distancing yourself from life. It's engaging with life in a more elevated way. You're no longer a puppet pulled by every mood swing, insult, or inconvenience. You become a force, steady, deliberate, focused. This mindset doesn't just help in conflict. It's essential in relationships, leadership, business, and personal growth. People trust those who are composed under pressure. They follow those who think before they act. And they respect those who don't let emotions override their intelligence. Emotional detachment is the bridge between chaos and clarity. It's the skill that keeps your emotions in your hands, not in the hands of the world. So, the next time you're tested, whether by someone's words, your own doubts, or a moment of setback, remember this. You don't have to feel less. You just have to master how you handle what you feel. Detach. Don't suppress. Observe. Don't absorb. Choose calm over chaos. That's not weakness. That's strength. There's a fine line between indifference and apathy, and it matters deeply which side you stand on. Indifference, when practiced with intention, is not a lack of caring. It's the art of selective focus. It's knowing that your energy, your attention, and your emotional bandwidth are finite and choosing, deliberately, where to invest them. Apathy is numbness. It is disconnection from purpose. It's giving up on the world. But indifference? Indifference is focus. It is discipline. It is clarity in a world that constantly begs for your distraction. The truth is, you don't have to care about everything. You only need to care about what truly moves the needle in your life, your purpose, your peace, your people, your growth. Everything else? It's noise. And noise is designed to shake your focus. Every day, you are hit with opinions, provocations, petty drama, and surface-level criticism. If you allow yourself to react to every minor inconvenience or emotional trigger, you become a puppet pulled by 1,000 strings. But if you learn to not care, strategically, selectively, then you become unshakable. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion is worth hearing. There is power in being unmoved. Not because you're above others, but because you are rooted in your mission. You've chosen what deserves your attention, and you refuse to be pulled off course by anything less. Indifference is what allows the high performer to stay focused when others are consumed by distractions. It's what enables the visionary to keep building while critics shout from the sidelines. It's the mindset that says, I see what's happening. I just don't let it control me. People respect those who are not easily rattled. The one who keeps their cool when others lose theirs, the one who doesn't flinch under pressure. The one who walks away from pointless conflict, that's the person others follow. Not because they demand respect, but because they embody it. You must learn to filter. Every thought that enters your mind does not deserve a reaction. Every problem presented to you is not your problem to solve. Every invitation to argue is not one you need to accept. The strongest minds don't fight every war, they fight the ones that matter. That's why they win more often. They conserve energy. They choose their timing. They protect their peace like it's sacred, because it is. This isn't just a mindset shift, it's a life strategy. It means saying no more often. It means walking away from petty debates. It means letting people misunderstand you without rushing to correct them. Why? Because your energy is better spent on progress than on proving a point. So next time something threatens to pull you into chaos, stop and ask. Does this serve my mission? Does this deserve my energy? Is this aligned with who I'm becoming? If the answer is no, drop it. Let it pass. Keep moving. Indifference isn't about being careless. It's about caring wisely. And in a world that demands your reaction to everything, the one who stays focused wins. We live in a world obsessed with validation. From likes and followers to compliments and praise, people are conditioned to seek approval at every step. But here's the hard truth. As long as you need external approval to feel worthy, you will always be at the mercy of others. Seeking approval is a subtle form of self-betrayal. You start shaping your words, your appearance, even your dreams, to meet the expectations of people who often don't even understand your path. And in doing so, you lose your authenticity. You lose power. Think about it. How many times have you held back your opinion, dimmed your light, or questioned your worth, just because you feared what someone might say? The reality is, no one's opinion of you should carry more weight than your own. Validation is fleeting. It's fragile. And worst of all, it's addictive. The more you get, the more you need. And suddenly, your sense of self is built on something you can't control. But confidence? Confidence is built from within. It's not given. It's earned through self-awareness, discipline, and choosing your truth over popularity, over approval, over comfort. The people you admire most, the ones who seem magnetic and unshakable, they don't beg to be liked. They don't shrink themselves to fit in. They stand firm in who they are, flaws and all. That's what makes them powerful. And ironically, when you stop trying to impress people, they start respecting you more. Why? Because self-assured people don't chase attention, they attract it. Their energy is rooted. Solid. Calm. And people feel that. You must understand this. Approval is not freedom, it's bondage. It forces you to live in reaction, constantly adjusting yourself to gain acceptance. And yet, no matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. Some will criticize. Some will misunderstand. Some won't care at all. That's not a reflection of your worth, it's just reality. If you truly want to live freely, you have to stop asking for permission to be yourself. You have to give up the illusion that you'll ever please everyone. And you have to start living for the only approval that actually matters, your own. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissive. It means owning your values, your vision, and your voice. It means validating yourself, acknowledging your own progress, and building an inner confidence that doesn't require applause. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you take your power back. You stop filtering your life through other people's opinions. You start moving with boldness. And most importantly, you become real. So ask yourself, whose approval am I still chasing? What would I do if I truly didn't care what they thought? What version of myself have I been hiding just to fit in? Let it go. Choose yourself. Walk your path without apology. Not everyone will understand. That's okay. The ones who matter will respect you, not because you seek their approval, but because you don't need it. Criticism is a constant presence in life. The moment you try to do something different, better, or bold, someone will have something to say. It might come from a stranger on the internet, a colleague at work, or even someone close to you. Some of it will be constructive. Much of it will not. The key is this: criticism only matters if you let it matter. Most people allow criticism to control them. A single negative comment can spiral into self-doubt, fear, or hesitation. They overthink, overanalyze, and often retreat from their goals just to avoid being judged. But those who understand power know that criticism is not something to fear, it's something to filter. The strongest people process criticism with logic, not emotion. There are two types of criticism. Learn to recognize the difference. 1. Constructive criticism. This is the type of feedback that helps you grow. It often comes from people who have experience, who understand your journey, and who offer insight because they care about your success. Their words might be firm, but their intention is to elevate you. These are the voices you want to hear. Constructive criticism reveals blind spots. It challenges you to think deeper, improve your execution, or refine your message. Don't run from it, lean into it. Accept it. Learn from it. Use it as fuel. 2. Destructive criticism. This is noise. It comes from insecurity, jealousy, or ignorance. People criticize what they don't understand, what they envy, or what makes them uncomfortable. Destructive criticism is rarely about you, it's a projection of the critic's own fears and limitations. Your response? Discard. Ignore. Move on. You don't owe destructive voices your attention. You certainly don't owe them a reaction. Before accepting any criticism, ask yourself: does this person have the wisdom or experience to offer meaningful input? Are they speaking from insight, or from emotion? Does this feedback align with my goals or derail my focus? If someone hasn't walked your path, their opinion carries no weight. You don't take travel advice from someone who's never left home. So don't let someone with no credibility redefine your direction. Learn to evaluate criticism the way a scientist evaluates data. Objectively. Strategically. With detachment. You keep what's useful. You discard what's not. There's no ego involved. Just growth. One of the most powerful positions you can stand in is calm indifference to shallow judgment. When someone criticizes you with no understanding, and you don't react, you demonstrate power. When they expect you to defend yourself, and you simply smile, you maintain control. Remember, the loudest critics are rarely the most successful people. Great minds don't waste time tearing others down, they're too busy building. So if someone is trying to break you with words, ask yourself why they have so much time to speak and so little to show. Criticism is part of the path to greatness. You will be judged, misunderstood, mocked. But if you let that stop you, you give away your power. If you use it wisely, you grow sharper, stronger, and more resilient. So the next time you're criticized, take a breath. Assess the source. Accept what helps. Ignore what hurts. And move forward, undeterred. That's how you turn criticism from a threat into a tool. That's how you use it strategically. Pressure is not the enemy, it's the mirror. It doesn't break the strong. It reveals them. Anyone can appear calm when everything is going according to plan. But what happens when it doesn't? What happens when life turns up the heat, when plans fail, when others panic? That's when true character is exposed. You see, most people expect the path to success to be smooth. They're shocked when things go wrong. They freeze when they encounter resistance. They view chaos as a problem. But the strongest minds understand something deeper: pressure is not an interruption of the path, it is the path. You will be tested. You will face setbacks, delays, criticism, rejection, and disappointment. This is not a sign that something's gone wrong. It's a sign that you're being refined. So instead of avoiding pressure, train for it. Expect it. Build your mind to thrive in it. Imagine a warrior who only trains in calm weather. The first storm breaks them. But one who trains through the wind, rain, and fire? That warrior doesn't just survive pressure, they dominate within it. This is the mindset you need to develop. Prepare yourself mentally before the battle comes. When others are hoping things go perfectly, you're preparing for when they don't. You visualize adversity. You rehearse your response. You cultivate composure, not because you hope to use it, but because you know you'll need it. And when the storm hits, you don't collapse, you lead. The average person panics under stress. They become reactive, emotional, unstable. But the composed person remains grounded. They don't react, they respond. They slow their breathing. They think clearly. They act with intention. This is not just about surviving difficult moments. It's about turning them into a competitive advantage. Because when chaos breaks out and everyone around you is scrambling, the one who remains steady becomes the one others turn to. That's power. Calmness is often mistaken for weakness. But make no mistake, calm is a calculated discipline. It's the quiet strength that holds nations together, that leads teams to victory, that makes leaders unforgettable. And here's what most people don't realize: you can train for composure. It's not a trait you're born with. It's built in the quiet moments, the daily decisions, the small acts of self-discipline. Every time you choose patience over panic, you're reinforcing mental muscle. Every time you breathe instead of explode, you sharpen your edge. Preparation is key. Know your triggers. Know your tendencies. Rehearse difficult scenarios before they happen. That way, when pressure shows up, you're not surprised, you're ready. Because when you don't need things to go perfectly, you become unstoppable. The world is unpredictable. Life will test you. People will disappoint you. Situations will fall apart. But if you can keep your head when others lose theirs, you gain the ultimate leverage, clarity in chaos. So the next time the pressure rises, don't ask for an easier path. Strengthen your stance. Lock in your focus. And remind yourself, this is the moment I've trained for. Because your calm isn't just for show. It's your secret weapon. And under pressure, it becomes your advantage. One of the greatest sources of stress, frustration, and suffering in life comes from one thing: trying to control what is not yours to control. The job offer that doesn't come through. The person who walks away. The unexpected setback that disrupts your plans. These things happen, and no amount of worry can stop them. And yet, most people waste their energy fighting reality. They resist what is. They obsess over outcomes. They replay conversations, regret decisions, and try to fix things already out of their hands. But here's the truth. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. You see, real strength lies not in gripping tighter, but in knowing when to release. When you stop trying to control everything, you reclaim your peace. You shift from reacting to accepting, from frustration to flow. You stop drowning in circumstances, and start moving through life with clarity. Think of a river. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path. It doesn't stop flowing because of an obstacle. It adapts. It bends. It finds a way forward without losing its essence. That's how you must live. With grace. With movement. Without unnecessary resistance. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive. Letting go is not about surrendering your goals. It's about focusing your energy where it actually matters: your mindset, your actions, your habits, and your responses. These are within your control. Everything else? Learn to let it pass. When you cling to what you can't change, you give it power over your mood, your decisions, your identity. You create suffering where none needs to exist. But when you let go, you free yourself. You give yourself the space to breathe, think, and move forward, light and unburdened. Ask yourself, is this something I can control? Am I wasting my energy trying to change the unchangeable? What can I focus on instead? The answers will guide you toward clarity. Because once you stop investing in what's out of reach, you become more powerful with what's in your hands. Letting go also requires emotional detachment. You don't need to carry every disappointment. You don't need to personalize every delay. The strongest minds understand this. Peace doesn't come from controlling life, it comes from releasing the need to. Some people will misunderstand you. Some outcomes won't go your way. Some things will never be explained or resolved. And that's okay. Not everything needs to be fixed. Not every story needs closure. Some things are just part of the journey, and your power is in learning to keep moving anyway. So next time life throws something at you that you didn't expect, don't fight it with resistance. Meet it with perspective. Accept it. Adapt. Move on. And keep your energy anchored to what you can control, your focus, your discipline, your growth. Because when you master the art of letting go, the world loses its grip on you. And in that freedom, you'll find something most never do. Unshakable peace. In a world addicted to noise, attention, and constant expression, silence is a weapon most people never learn to use. Everyone wants to be heard, to be seen, to speak their mind, often before they've even thought it through. But the most powerful individuals are rarely the loudest. They are the ones who observe, listen, and choose their words with precision. Words reveal. Silence conceals. And in that mystery lies your power. Think of the most commanding presence in a room. Often, it's not the person dominating the conversation, it's the one who says little but listens intently. Their silence makes people curious. Their restraint forces others to fill the space, to reveal themselves. Their stillness shifts the energy. That's not passivity. That's strategy. When you practice silence, especially in emotionally charged or high-stakes moments, you keep control. You deny others access to your thoughts. You protect your energy. You force people to question themselves rather than feeling the power to control you. Imagine this: someone insults you, pushes your buttons, tries to provoke a reaction. Most people would respond immediately, defending themselves, attacking back, or escalating the conflict. But if you remain silent, if you hold a neutral face, offer no emotional response, and walk away, you win. Not just because you avoided drama, but because you made the other person face themselves. You didn't give them what they wanted, your power. Your silence unsettles them. It makes them wonder, did it even affect them? That moment of silence becomes a mirror, and many don't like what they see in it. Silence isn't just for confrontation. It's also for clarity. When you talk less, you hear more. You catch what others miss. You notice tone, body language, contradictions. You develop the ability to read a room, not just respond to it. This awareness gives you a massive edge in relationships, negotiations, and leadership. It also applies to your goals. The loudest people often talk about what they're going to do. They announce their plans, post every step, seek applause before they've even finished. But true power moves in silence. Real power doesn't advertise. It executes. Build your dreams quietly. Let results speak for you. Let people wonder what you're working on, how you did it, why you're so composed. The less they know, the more control you have. When you move in silence, you remove interference. You stop inviting premature opinions, distractions, and criticism. Silence builds anticipation. It creates gravity. And when you finally do speak, people listen because they know you're not speaking out of impulse. Your words carry weight. This doesn't mean never speak. It means speak when it counts. Let your silence create space for intention, reflection, and precision. Let others chase attention. You chase mastery. So practice restraint. In conversation, pause before speaking. In conflict, withhold your reaction. In planning, keep it to yourself. And in execution, let the work do the talking. Because in the end, it's not the loudest who lead. It's the calmest. The quietest. The most focused. Silence, used correctly, isn't emptiness. It's presence. It's control. And it's the ultimate power move. Your mind is your battlefield. And in that battlefield, calm is your greatest weapon. The world around you will never stop testing you, unexpected problems, emotional people, high-pressure moments, sudden changes. You can't control those. But what you can control is your state of mind. Calm isn't something you turn on in the moment. It's something you train for. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. A slight setback ruins their day. One rude comment throws them off. They explode in traffic, panic under pressure, or spiral into anxiety when things don't go as planned. Why? Because they've never trained themselves to pause before reacting. But the strongest individuals, the ones who move through life with focus, strength, and quiet confidence, they've built something different. They've built a mind that doesn't flinch when tested. They've trained for calm like a warrior trains for battle. Training for calm is like building a muscle. You don't wait until chaos arrives. You prepare for it. You condition your brain through discipline, mindfulness, and deliberate control. And the more you train, the more unshakable you become. It starts with self-awareness. You must learn to observe your thoughts instead of being consumed by them. The next time frustration or fear rises, don't react instantly. Pause. Breathe. Watch it. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to make me do? Then choose your next move consciously, not impulsively. Understand this, emotions are not facts. They're data. Signals. They aren't instructions you must follow, they're messages you can learn from. The calm person hears the message but chooses the response. That's power. Building calm also requires routine discipline. Wake up early, even when you don't feel like it. Follow through on commitments, even when no one's watching. Exercise, read, meditate, breathe. These acts aren't about the task, they're about control. Every time you follow through on something hard, you remind your mind, I'm in charge. Because when crisis hits, and it will, you won't rise to the occasion. You'll fall to your level of training. That's why daily practice matters. Staying calm in an argument begins with practicing calm in silence. Resisting panic in the middle of chaos begins with mastering it when things are still. Just like a martial artist repeats drills until the body moves instinctively, you must train your mind to return to stillness, automatically. Also, don't confuse calm with being emotionless. Calm is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about directing it. You can feel anger, but not be controlled by it. You can feel stress, but still act with clarity. Calm people aren't robots. They're leaders of themselves. So train yourself. Sit with discomfort. Practice non-reaction. Let go of the need to always be right. Detach from drama. Meditate. Reflect. Execute without emotion clouding your vision. Because when the world burns and you remain still, that's when people see your strength. That's when you know you've mastered the game. Calm isn't passive. It's powerful. It's practiced. And once it's built, nothing can take it from you. In a world obsessed with visibility, attention, and constant noise, moving in silence is a lost art, but it's also the most powerful strategy you can master. We live in a culture where people feel compelled to announce every goal, explain every plan, and seek applause before the first step is even taken. But here's the truth. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the less energy you have left to actually do it. Real power doesn't advertise. It executes. The strongest individuals aren't the loudest in the room. They don't seek validation. They don't argue about their worth. They don't post their every move. They let their results do the talking. While others are busy sharing dreams, they're silently building them. Silence creates mystery. And mystery creates respect. When you don't announce your every move, you protect your momentum. You avoid premature judgment. You eliminate the pressure of public expectations. You give yourself the space to focus completely on execution. Most people sabotage their goals by seeking approval too soon. They tell their plans to others, hoping for praise, but when the feedback isn't what they want, they second-guess themselves or stall. But when you keep your vision private, it becomes sacred. Untouched. Uninfluenced. Yours. Moving in silence is not about secrecy. It's about strength. It's about knowing you don't need to explain yourself to anyone who doesn't understand your mission. It's about choosing progress over performance. Depth over display. And ironically, silence is what makes your success louder. Because when you win, when you show up with results people didn't see coming, it hits harder. No build-up. No expectation. Just impact. The world is left wondering how you did it. That's power. Silence also gives you control over your energy. Talking drains it. Defending your dreams drains it. Arguing with people who don't believe in you drains it. But when you operate quietly, that energy is conserved and redirected where it belongs, into the work. Even in relationships and leadership, silence is a signal. It says, I'm not here to prove, I'm here to move. It builds a reputation that doesn't need explaining. People respect what they can't predict. They admire the person who leads by example, not by ego. So how do you master this? Keep your goals private until they're achieved. Resist the urge to explain your every decision. Let your direction speak for itself. Be consistent without being loud. Show up every day and let discipline be your proof. Say less. Do more. Let your actions echo. Because when you stop announcing, stop defending, and stop chasing attention, you become untouchable. While others are busy talking, you're already winning. Remember this, the most dangerous move isn't loud. It's silent. It's quiet consistency. Private progress. And sudden, undeniable success. Master the art of moving in silence, and the world will never see you coming. After everything, after the noise, the setbacks, the criticism, and the chaos, what remains is this simple truth. The world belongs to those who master themselves. The people who rise, truly rise, aren't the ones with the most followers, the loudest voices, or the smoothest paths. They're the ones who have trained their minds like warriors, sharpened their focus like laser beams, and learned to lead themselves before leading anyone else. They don't flinch in the face of uncertainty. They don't react to every distraction or demand. They don't seek validation, they move with vision. They aren't desperate to be liked, they are committed to being real. In a world where most are ruled by impulse, emotion, and the approval of others, the rarest kind of power is self-control. The truth is this, you don't need everyone's approval, you only need your own clarity. When you truly know who you are and what you stand for, the noise of the world becomes background static. You stop bending for opinions that don't matter. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You stop explaining your silence. You simply move, quietly, intentionally, boldly. You choose purpose over popularity. You choose discipline over comfort. You choose mastery over validation. And in doing so, you claim something that can't be bought or borrowed, true inner power. People chase all the wrong things, attention, applause, recognition. But these are illusions. Temporary highs. They fade fast. And when they're gone, if you haven't built something real inside, you're left empty. But when you build yourself from the inside out, calm, focused, grounded, you become unshakable. You learn to pause instead of panic. Observe instead of absorb. Respond instead of react. Rise instead of retaliate. You're not thrown off course by every challenge. You're not rattled by every rude comment. You're not desperate to be seen, because you already see yourself clearly. This is the final truth: you were never meant to chase the world. You were meant to master your own. When you own your emotions, your focus, and your silence, something changes. You stop chasing peace, you become it. You stop chasing strength, you embody it. You stop asking for permission, you give it to yourself. This is not just mindset. It's identity. It's who you become. So walk forward with discipline. Lead with purpose. Speak only when your words are stronger than your silence. And above all, stay loyal to your vision, even when the world misunderstands it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to keep moving. And you don't have to be approved by everyone. You just have to be anchored in yourself. Master your mind. Master your emotions. Master your movements. Become the calm in the storm. The stillness in the chaos. The presence that cannot be shaken. Because once you do, the world will never have power over you again.